So, in the last video, I talked about the need for integral theory. So, in this video, I'm going to explain the need for anarchism. And so, basically, this is it. I want to promote an international left that is united, that understands that we have the universality, that we can essentially talk turkey with anyone and recruit them as they are, and that integral theory is a vital part of this effort. However, within the international left, what I want to do is promote anarchism, my own particular brand of leftism. So, this is my argument in which I'm going to be using Matua Lysander Spooner and the comic book V for Vendetta, one of my favorite comic books of all time, by Matua Alan Moore. So, number one is Spooner's core challenge. The state lacks legitimate authority. So, Spooner's most famous claim is disarmingly simple. No government can claim legitimate authority without the explicit ongoing consent of every individual. Voting, constitutions, and historical revolutions don't count as consent. They bind people who never agreed. For the international left, this becomes a pressure in the chest, a tightening of the ribs of domination is wrong, a core leftist principle. And the state imposes laws, taxes, borders, and policing without consent, then the state itself is a structure of domination. It is a skeleton built from other people's bones, animated by blood it did not receive willingly. Conclusion, this is the Spoonerian conclusion. You cannot consistently oppose oppression while defending an institution that rests on coercion. This flips a common assumption. The state is not a neutral tool that can be captured for justice. It is structurally coercive, like a jaw that bites regardless of who sets the teeth. Number two, the left's internal tension. So the international left often holds two commitments: anti-domination, that is, opposition to capitalism, imperialism, colonialism, blah, 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 and strategic statism, using the state to redistribute, regulate, or plan. Matua Spooner forces a confrontation that feels like bone grinding against bone. If domination is the problem, why trust a centralized monopoly of violence to solve it? Historically, attempts to wield the state for liberation often grow new organs of control. Revolutionary states clot into bureaucratic tissue. Liberation movements calcify into ruling classes. Police and borders persist like scar tissue, even under left regimes. From a Matua Spooner pair of eyes, this isn't a failure of execution. It's a failure of the body plan itself. The very anatomy is wrong. Number three, V for Vendetta. So, the emotional and political imagination. In V for Vendetta, V is not trying to seize the state, but he is trying to rupture its spine, to drain it of the blood that keeps it standing. The Norse Fire regime represents an extreme, but Moore's point is broader. The state sustains itself through fear, habit, and perceived necessity, not genuine consent. It survives like a parasite in the bloodstream, unquestioned, because it circulates everywhere. So, the keen insight from this wonderful comic is V doesn't say replace bad rulers with good ones. He says, in effect, quote, stop believing in rulers, end of quote. That is pure Matua Spooner, like telling a body it cannot stop clenching its own jaw. Point number 4, from Matua Spooner to V, power versus legitimacy. So Martha Spooner argues authority without consent is illegitimate, whereas V dramatizes illegitimate authority persists because people carry it in their own nervous system reflexively, sort of a Foucault type of vibe. This creates a powerful synthesis. So if we look at Martha Spooner as the theory and V as the praxis, so to speak, then we can sort of see this. So the state has no moral authority. In V for Vendetta, the regime is revealed as hollow bone. Consent is the only justification. In V for Vendetta, fear pumps like forced blood through veins. Individuals are sovereign. In V for Vendetta, individuals must relearn how to stand upright. So V's project is not governance, it's a rewiring of the body, a purging of something swallowed long ago. He wants people to realize they were never truly obligated, that the command lodged in their throat was never theirs. Why the international left, so point number 5, should care. So number 1, here's the argument. Now, with pulse and pressure. The state reproduces hierarchy. Even when controlled by the left, it centralizes decision making, like a single brain overriding all limbs, maintains enforcement, police, prisons, borders, etc., like clenched fists, requires obedience over autonomy, like a tongue forced to speak profane words. Number 2, Martha Spooner exposes the contradiction. You cannot oppose domination, capitalism, imperialism, etc., while endorsing an institution built on non-consensual rule. That's like rejecting poison while keeping it in your bloodstream. Number 3, V shows the psychological dimension. Oppression is not just material, it's embodied. People comply because the command sits behind their teeth. Fear circulates like adrenaline. Authority feels natural because it has been metabolized. Revolution then is not just external, it is a detoxification. Number 4, anarchism aligns means with ends. So anarchism says liberation must be built on voluntary cooperation, like cells choosing to live together. Structures should be horizontal, not imposed, like a body without a tyrant organ. Power should dissolve, not be captured, like tension released from a locked jaw. This resolves a core left dilemma. How do you create a non-dominating society using dominant tools? Answer, you don't. You cannot grow healthy tissue from infected blood. Number 6, a Spoonerian anarchist reframing of leftist strategy. So instead of capturing the state, grabbing the skeleton, the central planning from above, a brain dictating every movement, and legislating justice, forcing speech through clenched teeth, Martha Spooner would sort of suggest the following: building voluntary institutions, mutual aid, cooperatives, like tissue forming organically, undermining state legitimacy, non-compliance, decentralization, like starving a parasite, and replacing coercion with consent-based coordination, like a body finally moving without pain. This is much closer to what V symbolizes, not a new regime, but a collapse of imposed structure, like a body shedding something lodged deep in its organs. Point number 7. This is my sort of provocative conclusion, if you will. A Martha Spooner and V for Vendetta argument more or less lands like this. So, if the international left truly believes in freedom, equality, and anti-domination, then it must abandon the illusion that the state can deliver those ends. The state is not the solution. It is the final form of the problem, and V gives that conclusion a visceral edge. People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. And push it one step further. Matua Spooner's step deeper into the marrow. People shouldn't need government at all. Not because they are pure, but because they are already alive, already thinking, already capable of moving without chains wrapped around their spine. No reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.